This is that wicked logo, long-ass three. Caitlin's going to hit us with the Jordan right there with the tongue out.
Welcome back, Caitlin Clark. You are insane.
This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different.
It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling. She steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made 3 threes in 38 seconds. That is not common.
This was an unbelievable ass kicking by Caitlin Clark.
LeBron James tweeted out, the CC effect, welcome back. You were missed.
Caitlin Clark Kent is back.
This just occurred. Caitlin Clark entered the stadium as if she had never left and put an end to the unbeaten season of the York Liberty.
She is just absolutely undeniable. As Caitlin Clark put on a show that only she can in leading the team to a win over the New York Liberty. Clark made those passes that are just gorgeous dimes. She hit the logo bombs, 3 of them in 38 seconds. She's so exciting. She's the most exciting basketball player on the planet.
Clark's logo bombs lit up the scoreboard and transformed a struggling Indiana Fever side into a giant slayer in what can only be called one of the most thrilling comebacks in WNBA history.
This team won a massive, massive game. One of the greatest single-half performances I've ever seen in basketball.
This actually puts the Fever at the top of the Commissioner's Cup standings now for the Eastern Conference Finals.
The Liberty were humiliated on national television by a rookie who performed like an experienced MVP, in addition to losing.
32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 threes, 11 for 20 in only 31 minutes, 3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half.
Caitlin set the tone as soon as she took the court, and everyone looked on in shock. This wasn't just a victory, it was a declaration.
Caitlin Clark just scored 25 points, and the quarters in the WNBA are shorter, not as long, as the quarters in the NBA.
The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good.
Please leave a comment below if you think Caitlin Clark is the true GOAT type and you're a fan of her.
Guess who's back? Back again. Caitlin's back.
I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
Can you guess who has returned again and again? I will state unequivocally that Caitlin Clark is the greatest basketball player in the world and the best I have ever seen. She is the difference maker, the needle mover, and the current face of basketball.
She almost had a triple-double in this game. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 32 points, and 2 block shots. That's one of the most ridiculous stat lines you will ever frickin' see from any player, WNBA or NBA, either one.
One of the most absurd stat lines you will ever see from any player, whether in the NBA or the WNBA, is that she nearly had a triple-double in this game with 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 32 points, and 2 blocks.
Caitlin Clark actually had people flying in from Hong Kong to see her play, and they addressed that in the post-game interview, and this was the interaction.
So congrats on your great performance.
Thanks.
Just want to let you know you have a huge fan base in Hong Kong.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
hopefully I'll get there one day.
And today, there are 5 Hong Kong fans fly from Hong Kong to
No
Indiana.
way. It's incredible to see the type of reach that we can have and how much people love basketball across the globe. So that's really cool. So if you know them, tell them I say hello, and thanks for coming as well.
The WNBA world came to a halt as the arena erupted. Social media went viral, and the 3 logo threes boom, boom, boom.
Stewie took on the assignment and what Caitlin Clark just did. Look at what she does to Breanna Stewart. Sidestep, hits the 3. Stewie's just in awe of the whole thing. That is absolutely nuts.
Clark did more than just score. She made an authoritative entrance. Her first 3 songs were fluid, deep, and effortless. And then, before the audience could even return to their seats, she reappeared with another bomb. She then executed a third sequence that was so quick and vicious that even Breanna Stewart, a legend in her own right, could only laugh incredulously.
Like, she's just out there getting trash talked by Caitlin Clark. You've even got ESPN posting about it. She's guarding Caitlin, and that shot goes in. She's probably like, what the hell's going on? Caitlin Clark immediately trash talking, and she has to laugh. Like, I wonder, like, this is the least demon of demon Caitlin there's ever been.
Commentators couldn't believe what they were seeing, even on the Liberty bench, and both coaches and players had that. That wasn't just a shock reaction. It was respect, pure and simple. What are we supposed to do?
There was actually a moment where Breanna Stewart was giving her a lot of space. She shoots it from the logo, she drills it, and all Breanna Stewart could do is kind of laugh about it. I actually loved that moment.
Look, LeBron James mentioned it in a tweet. Fans from Hong Kong traveled just to see her play, and they weren't let down. They were able to see brilliance up close. According to statistics, Clark was on fire, and this wasn't simply a comeback. 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 7 three-pointers.
Caitlin Clark hit 3 logo bombs. 3 logo bombs. The most 35 in 5 games in the players' 2 seasons. Candace Parker had 2. Caitlin Clark now has 3. Nobody else with more than 1.
However, the details of how she accomplished it are more important than the statistics. Her passes didn't look dime. In transition, cross-court lasers to shooters, and precision feeds to Aaliyah Boston. Her movement was unrelenting even when she was exhausted, and even when double-teamed, she found ways to contribute. Her threes weren't just deep, they were logo-range lasers, many of which had defenders draped on her. After being sidelined, Clark returned with a renewed sense of purpose and passion, demonstrating to everyone that she is not just the WNBA's future, but also the present. She added 2 blocks, a steal, and took on defensive challenges that demonstrated her progress and tenacity.
Sydney Colson stepped it up in this game. She notched 10 points, which is actually great for Sydney Colson coming in off the bench. 6 assists, a rebound, and a steal. And she made some pretty important plays.
Even more remarkable was the way she uplifted the entire Indiana Fever squad with her presence. Kelsey Mitchell, who had trouble in the beginning, eventually found her rhythm, in part due to the gravity Clark established with Lexi Hall, and Sydney Colson appeared energized as they made hustle moves and made baskets.
She sat on the bench, she sat on the sidelines, she watched this team play, and she was just counting her days until she made her return. Caitlin Clark probably said, I want to come back to the most eyeballs possible. You guys are about to see what I'm going to do.
The crowd responded favorably to Clark's ferocity, and it became evident that the Liberty were dealing with the Caitlin Clark effect in real time rather than simply the Fever.
In the post-game interview, this is what Rena Ionescu said about the game. She said, basketball is a game of runs. The same way we go on a run, they do as well. They're a great team. I think we gave Caitlin too many easy ones. She has great range. On a personal level, I'm happy to see her out there on the court and feeling good.
This first quarter wasn't just a highlight reel. It served as a reminder to the rest of the league that Caitlin Clark is back and ready for anything. Clark didn't just come out firing. She engineered the complete destruction of the New York Liberty's undefeated season.
Caitlin Clark did receive her first tech of the season. Kind of a dumb tech because there was an obvious foul on Aaliyah Boston. She went up to the ref and she said, "Are you kidding me?"
When she lit the fire, the whole Indiana Fever team caught on. And what happened next wasn't a coincidence or a lucky night. Rather, it was a methodical dismantling of one of the top WNBA teams. From the tactical changes to the on-court play, to the sheer will of the team, the Fever, led by Clark, played with a new level of urgency. They didn't just win, they dominated.
Caitlin Clark, 50% from 3, 11 for 20 from the field, 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and guess what? 7 turnovers. She's a point guard. She's going to try to fit the ball in places that many people don't even see.
First, let's talk about strategy. This time, head coach Stephanie White changed the script and used a well-thought-out game plan to counteract the Liberty's strengths. The Fever had obviously done their study in their previous game, as the Liberty uncovered and feasted on Indiana's defensive mismatches.
Yeah, I mean, they were all in transition, so I felt like I was kind of running around fast to try to get them off. You know, I think the third one, I ran all the way to the corner, then ran all the way back up top, then dribbled a few times, and then finally got it off. That takes it out of probably anybody. But like I said, I felt really good out there. And now for me, it's just how I recover, especially with the schedule that we have coming up. That's going to be super important. I'm playing a lot of games in a very short period of time, so I really have to take care of myself to make sure I don't regress in any sort of way.
The assistants' defense was quick and efficient when Kelsey Mitchell was switched on to Breanna Stewart, possibly creating a mismatch. Boston, Natasha Howard, and other bigs rotated smoothly, blocking driving lanes and forcing the Liberty into terrible shots. The Fever were controlling the pace and making the Liberty adjust, but defensive play was only half the story. Offensive play was a masterclass in shot selection and ball movement spacing.
I mean, not really. I think you're just a little anxious to get out there and get playing again. I felt really good. I thought there was a few periods where I felt like a little tired. I asked for a sub there in the second half or in the second quarter, and Steph got me a quick one. But other than that, my legs felt really strong. Like I felt in good shape, and a lot of that is credit to our medical team, like have, kept me in shape, even though I haven't been able to maybe be up and down as much as everybody else. It's just finding other things to do that, I can find confidence in. I'm ready to play. And that's certainly how I felt out there.
Even though Caitlin Clark scored the most points, 32, her presence improved everyone else's performance. She pulled defenders to the perimeter, creating space inside for Alia Boston to operate. Despite Boston's constant double teaming and swarming, she responded with high Q passes, scoring 6 assists and finding open shooters in the corners like Sydney Colson and Lexi Hull. After hearing complaints about backup guards and inconsistent bench play for weeks, Cousin in particular silenced her detractors by stepping in with poise and delivering 10 points off the bench. 6 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, and a +8 in the plus-minus column. She was everywhere, driving the pace, putting pressure on defenders, and making clutch plays. In the second half, she even made 2 huge three-pointers that really destroyed the Liberty's momentum. After that, there was the seriousness and leadership of Clark drove Lexi Hull, a name that doesn't always make headlines, to play like a seasoned pro in this game. She finished with 14 points and a 50% shooting percentage overall, going 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. Her off-ball movement was astute, her defense was tight, and her confidence was evident.
She makes this team look like a contending team, which is shocking to say after seeing them play without her.
Kelsey Mitchell's performance is also noteworthy. She began cold, missing shots, forcing possessions, and appeared irritated. But rather than waning, she rallied and became the closer.
Alia Boston and Kelsey Mitchell have to show up and shoot efficiently.
Her 22 points weren't particularly impressive, but they came at the right moment. In the third and fourth quarters, when the game became close, she stepped up, attacked the rim, and made clutch baskets.
Sophie Cunningham hit a big 3 towards the end to put a dagger in the Liberty.
That's veteran presence, and the squad needed it. Now, let's examine the numbers, which give the Liberty a harsh image. Indiana shot a scorching 48% from beyond the arc and made a franchise record 17 three-pointers.
3 logo threes in that amount of time is unreal.
The Liberty, on the other hand, shot a pitiful 20% from three-point range. Only Sabrina Ionescu and Maureen Johans were able to connect from outside, and even though Sabrina scored 34 points, it wasn't enough. Her threes came in spurts. Nevertheless, the fever persisted, and every Liberty run was met with an Indiana answer, who was typically wearing number 22.
She is the only player in the league so far averaging 20 points per game, 5 rebounds per game or more, 5 assists or more per game.
At one point, Cloud was so outmatched that she had to be removed from the game following a failed defensive sequence in which Clark JCH'd her into fouling. It was personal, and Clark made her pay. Liberty players like Natasha Cloud and even Brianna Stewart looked shaken. Cloud, who had been praised as a Clark stopper in their previous matchup, had no such success this time around. Cloud managed just 5 points on 1 of 8 shooting attempts.
She had an ISO on Stewie, and she said, "Hey, AB, get over there, AB. Step back, pull up, bang, right in Stewie's face," and Stewie couldn't help but laugh.
Even previous MVP Brianna Stewart, who scored 24 points, ran out of answers. At one point, Stewart was clearly irritated when Clark gave her a deep 3 from the logo. Stewart could only smile in shock. It wasn't arrogance. Rather, it was resignation. Even legends have to admit that she had an ISO on Stewie, and she said, "Hey Ab, get over there Ab, step back, pull up." Despite the Fever playing their best basketball of the season, the whistle was blaring against them the entire night. Liberty made 30 free throws to Indiana's 16, almost double-double, and Stewart alone had 14 attempts. Nevertheless, Clark and her team played through the imbalance, leaned into each other, and executed that. That's championship DNA forming in real time. Stewie couldn't help but laugh when that happened. This was a statement victory for the Liberty, who were unbeaten, loaded with all-stars, and expected to have a deep postseason run. The Fever, on the other hand, were supposed to still be rebuilding. But Caitlin Clark had not received the memo, so she took over the court and boldly declared that the Indiana Fever should not be taken lightly every quarter. Scoring more than 20 points, "This is what we want, 102 points." Caitlin Clark said, "Toss the game plan out the window and let me just play ball." This game changed everything for the Fever, Clark, and the league. It demonstrated that the WNBA has a new alpha. Caitlin Clark, the Liberty, who entered the game undefeated and left it exposed because one player returned and refused to lose. What we saw was the crystallization of a phenomenon that had been developing all season. The Caitlin Clark effect, and after this game, it's impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a statement win for Indiana. It was a turning point for the WNBA itself. Caitlin Clark didn't just win a game. She changed the energy of an entire league. Her performance against the undefeated Liberty wasn't just about basketball. It was about impact, legacy, and power.